AAUW is me.
I wanted to meet some new people and do some different things. And I also wanted to be part of an organization that had a social commitment to young women and the community at large.
I want to be a contributing member of an organization where women help women in promoting education, in making friends, in entertaining one another, and in sharing ideas about this world.
Women would want to join the AAUW because we have a very fierce commitment to equality and equity for women and girls. And if that's something that you're interested in, this is one of the best venues to help channel that energy.
Hello, welcome to AAUW Connections. Tonight we're going to be learning about a program in our two Mountain View Los Altos communities that makes a difference in the lives of many youth. And it's called the Mountain View Los Altos Community Scholars Program. Mm-hmm. And here to talk to us about it tonight are Michelle Reichert, who is the program director, and Leslie Cervantes, who has actually had the experience of being one of the participants in the program, now gone on to greater things. And finally, Dee Gibson, who is the president of the program council. So let's just get into it. Leslie, well, yes, I can ask you too.
You can be the first one on the hot seat.
Yeah, and if you don't have this knowledge, you can pass it on, the question on. How and when was Community Scholars actually founded? That was probably before your time, was before you...
Correct. So
Okay.
I'll pass this
I think that might be a little hard.
I didn't mean
answer.
that.
That's okay.
To you.
So the Mountain View Los Altos Community Scholars Program was started in 2000, in the year 2000, 10 years ago, by Jim Strand, who is a local Los Altos resident and venture capitalist. And he contacted Rich Fisher, who was then superintendent of the Mountain View Los Altos High School District, to say he wanted to fund a scholarship, four-year college scholarships with mentors for high potential, low income, first in the family to go to college students. That Jim himself had benefited from having the support of a mentor who I think helped him get through UC Berkeley, and so he thought that would be a nice way to give back to the community.
Oh yeah, I would say.
Exactly. So, so he single-handedly kept the foundation or the Scholars Program funded for the first 5 years. Mm. And then, you know, under the auspices of the High School Education Foundation.
Yeah, he wasn't choosing the scholars, but he was funding the program.
No, he was funding, and he was, I think, an active participant in the program with Rich, and Rich Friedland, who was then the director. You know, under the with the
he was the director of
he was the director of the program at the Education Foundation. And then Jim, having been so generous for 5 years, decided it was time to turn the program over to the greater community. And the Scholars Program was moved from the Education Foundation over to the Los Altos Community Foundation.
So then that is the relation. What about this relationship with, what is your relationship, the programs, to Los Altos Community Foundation?
So the Los Altos Community Foundation is actually the fiscal sponsor for the Community Scholars Program.
Which means that they...
which means they are our 501c3 organization.
Yes,
so,
okay.
we run the program separately from the foundation, but we rely on them for the tax status.
Yes, to be under their 501c3 umbrella.
Exactly,
Okay.
for liability purposes and so forth.
And so that people who donate can get the tax deductions.
Exactly, exactly.
So then, Dee, since you are the president of the program council, tell us a little about what is the structure. I mean, do you have a board of executives or a board of directors or an executive committee? What is this program council?
So we actually have sort of two various organizations, and they kind of work sort of in tandem with each other. So we have an executive committee that is a smaller group, and then we have sort of the program council that actually incorporates not only the people who are for the most part, on the executive committee, but it's also representatives from the school districts. So Barry Groves, our superintendent, is on the program council, as well as we have representatives from the 2 high schools.
Student representatives?
Well, not student representatives, but the College and Career Center coordinators are on,
that
because we work very, very closely with them, because they are sort of the people who are at the various sites who help the students with college selection and with funding. So we really coordinate and rely on their expertise very heavily. And then we have people who have volunteered to kind of take on special projects. So we have now, and we may talk a little bit more about it later, but one of the things that we have started is a Foothill College club. So because we have so many students who are now starting their 4-year experience in college by taking advantage of the wonderful community college that we have here.
So the club at Foothill College is a club of the community scholars.
Exactly.
Right, exactly.
So they don't feel alone
because one of the things that they have, the evidence kind of points to is that so many students who start in community college end their career in community college, and they fall out, and they kind of get lost in in life. And so we want to have one more network for these students to be able to kind of build a sense of community, because college should also be a sense of community for the students.
Now, about how many people are on the program council?
So we have
the larger group.
Maybe about 10 or 12.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and okay,
as well as representatives from the school board.
Right.
So it's sort of all of our constituents.
Do you have any community members?
And we have some people who actually don't even have children in the district, who kind of come with a business perspective, business representatives, or people who are interested in forging relationships with other organizations that kind of we're working in tandem. So we have other people who are probably from the community, but work with us.
Yes. So Leslie, you have been through the program.
Yes, I have.
And was it? Did you work with the program for your entire college career? And I understand you graduated last June.
Yes, this past June I graduated, and I did remain with them all 4 years. So starting freshman year of college all the way.
And where did you go to college?
I went to Santa Clara University.
For the whole 4 years.
For the whole 4 years.
Right.
And part of that success and that accomplishment is because of this program and the mentor that they provided me with.
And did you have the mentor for all 4 years, or did you have one mentor and then a different?
No, so I had the same mentor, Pam Leaner, all 4 years.
And Pam was actually Leslie's mentor through Partners for New Generation. So they had a very long.
You already knew each other.
Yeah.
We knew each other from my junior year of high school, which is just the perfect time in which I got a mentor. Just the perfect timing.
And are you two still in touch?
We're still very much in touch. I think even closer now that I've graduated, and more so than maybe when I was in high school and I didn't know her as much, but our relationship is so strong. I mean, my family refers to her as my guardian angel who guided me through my educational process.
So what are you doing now?
So now I am interning at the Public Defender's Office on...
The County Public Defender's Office?
Yes, the County of Santa Clara, yes.
And any special focus?
Just working with at-risk youth is my special focus, and just guiding them back into school and on the right track, just like I had someone guide me towards the right track.
So you're in some senses, you're acting in some of the roles that you benefited from.
Yeah, it's basically my way of giving back what I got from the MVLA Scholars Foundation. I want to give the help that I received back onto newer generations.
That's just great.
Well, and we've asked Leslie to join the program council as a representative, alumni representative.
Yes, that's right.
And yeah, since she's already volunteering to take on some mentoring responsibilities.
Well, and you're obviously a program success story, so that's so nice to see.
Thank you.
Now, we've gotten some hints from the conversation already, but typically, what age, what grade really, is the average student who comes into the program? At what point in their career, their high school career, do you start identifying them and working with them?
Well, typically, we've started working with the students once they've gone through the application process for the scholarship. So we put the application out usually in February, and then the deadline is April, and there's the scholar selection process that they go through, and then sometime in May or so, we bring the students and the mentors together, and they start getting to know each other and working together to put together a plan for college.
So this is these students are seniors in high school?
Seniors in high school.
Right.
But actually this year, we're starting a pilot project to begin working with the students right now in the fall of senior year. Even though they haven't submitted the application for a scholarship, and there's no guarantee that they'll receive a scholarship, but we feel that we can make a big difference in helping the students through the college application process, the scholarship application process, the financial aid process, so that they can start making good decisions earlier about what kind of college that would work for them.
Yes, I mean, I would just, on the sidelines, I would think that if it's earlier in the year, that's, some of these students I would think would be that the whole college application process is so daunting that they just might not even do it because they just can't quite. What would that be your experience too? I mean, was that your experience, but I mean your sense and.
That was definitely my experience. I thought, who am I going to go to receive help on that college application process? How am I going to have access to these college campuses? Who's going to take me? Who's going to explain them to me? I didn't have my parents who could do that for me, or older siblings. I am the oldest of 4, so for me it was all new and pretty frightening, actually.
I can see where it would be.
So
yeah, and I think the applications have gotten so much more complicated than they used to be, and it feels, between the common application and the UCs and the CSUs, and it's very confusing if you don't have somebody guiding you.
In fact, this just occurred to me as we're saying this, that some of those it's expensive to make those applications too, and so that's got to be an issue as well. Just having the money to file an application.
Yes, to add on to that, that's where my mentor played a key role, where I said, where can I have the financial resources to turn in my applications? And if she didn't know the answer, she at least knew where to guide me or what resources I could access. So that was very important for me, and how to find ways to pay for these things. And so I had my mentor to rely on.
Sure, you need that kind of seed money, and then, as you said, someone to guide you through
and know where to get
filling
it from,
out the application.
And we're fortunate. I was going to say, we're very fortunate that both of the high schools, both Los Altos and Mountain View, have a wonderful AVID programs.
Right.
So, and those are programs that are really kind of our pool of applicants that we find so many of our scholars from, because they are students who are, for the most part, first-generation students in their family to go to college. And one of the focuses of that program is to take the students to visit college campuses, to make sure that they fill out the applications and help them with the financial aid, applying for scholarships.
So that program, the AVID program, has,
exactly. So, but we're very fortunate in our school district to not have all these students out there floundering, but there is a specific program that's really geared for them. And there are people in the tutorial center who will help them work on their essays. So it's a great school district to have these resources in place.
There's a whole support system out there.
Exactly.
Definitely.
But then there's always more support that these students need, and that's kind of what we're hoping in our pilot program, to be able to provide some sort of look at the alternatives and the choices that the students have, and then help them make the best choice that can be sustainable.
So when will has this pilot program begun, or is it next year?
We have begun.
Okay.
Actually, I met today with a couple of the students at Mountain View that we'll be working with. And yes, the AVID program really supports the students, but there's one AVID teacher working with 30 kids.
Right.
And so, like working with your own children, I mean, you can tell them, you can give them all the handouts, tell them what to do, but once they sit down to do it, they always have questions, and they get off track. And so the fact that I was able to sit down with a couple of students today, and we could say, okay, where are you? You know, what do you need?
And then you'll do this at Los Altos High School.
Exactly.
Also.
So we have 3 students from each of the high schools that we'll be working with.
Okay. So you've already in the pilot program.
In the pilot program only.
Now, how do you mentioned earlier that the applications are distributed or are available
in February.
In February. So how do you get these? How do you find the right students to get these applications? Are they recommended by the AVID program? Where do they come from?
I think that because of our relationship with the both the AVID students and with the college counseling centers at each of the schools, they're very familiar with the application, and they encourage the students to apply.
Right.
Our scholarship is also part of a common application for local scholarships with the Rotary, Kiwanis. So it makes it easy for the kids to fill out one application and check off the scholarships that they qualify for, and then it's one-stop shopping for local scholarships, which is makes it easy for them.
And more encouraging.
I was going to say, certainly students that kind of meet our general criteria, which is first generation in the family to go to school and have financial need, would really be encouraged to file for ours in particular. But so many other students can fill out the common application and be qualified for other scholarships as well.
Yeah, because I'm sure you probably need more than one.
Oh, absolutely. But the nice thing about our program is that we are a scholarship program for 4 years, or the time that it takes the student to get through college.
Okay, so if they are awarded one of your scholarships, then they don't have to worry about, well, that's fine for the first year, and what am I going to do next year, which you'd probably start worrying about in October or November of that.
Which is actually an issue I had with all the other scholarships I received. They were usually just for the first year or up to the second year at the most. So the great thing about this scholarship was the fact that it was 4 years, and it was something I could rely on. I knew it would be there. And it was just great having that sort of reassurance or financial security, at least, or sense of security.
Well, we can also adjust the amount of the scholarship from year to year too, so that if the need arises that if they need more money for a given year, we can make that available up to, our standard scholarships are somewhere between $1,000 and $5,000 a year.
So there is some leeway in
there. So there's some leeway, or for kids who start out at Foothill, we can give them $1,000 a year, and then when they're ready to transfer, we can give them $5,000 a year. So it's a very personal decision that we make with them.
So how many students are in the program this year, for example? And some of them are maybe in their first year of college, and some of them are in their last.
So I think in our first, the freshmen this year, there are about 16 students.
That tends to be kind of the normal.
Okay.
And probably active in the program right now is about 55 students.
Wow. Do you have any idea, and you may not, more or less, how many students have gone through the program in the last 10 years?
The last estimate that I saw was about 170.
Wow, that's making a significant
so we're getting close to 200
contribution.
And actually, last year, one of the sort of things that we thought would be very interesting would be to track our graduates and see what they're doing, just so that we have a sense of how much of a difference we've made. So we're definitely working on that.
Right.
And you're working on it now, so you don't have the numbers, but would you say that what percentage, ballpark figure, go on to who actually finish a 4-year college, just as you did, who go get a degree?
I think now again, I've seen some of our numbers. I think we'd have to verify them. I think we're sort of in the 90%.
Wow, that's remarkable.
But exactly.
Because we've been increasing the number of community college students, we have to track those numbers a little more closely now, because there is a little more, there's more of a tendency for us to lose some of those kids. Again, because of the challenges of a lot of them are working and going to school, have family responsibilities, and that's why we're trying to kind of throw as much support at them as we can, to keep them on track.
Well,
But
I would think that that's where the mentors
Exactly.
come in.
Oh, definitely.
exactly.
And that's what we think, that we can really change that percentage where, you know, the common perception is that it is a very low percentage of students that start at a community college that ever get beyond that. And we think that really with the, you know, having a mentor can make a huge difference in, because there is somebody who's going to make sure that this is not the end of your college career, that you are going to go the next step.
And did you find that that mentor would, there are always, any of us who go to college, there are times when you're having a little low or something and you need someone to tell you, it's okay, hang in there?
Oh, definitely. I mean, so I bet there's times where my mentor maybe didn't even necessarily know what she might have been telling me, but the fact that she sounded like she did and she just supported me, you know, because I'm sure there's fears in our mentors too, you know, mentors don't always have all the answers, but just that simple, like, you know what, I believe in you, or, you know what, I don't know right now, I don't have the answers, but let's find a way together. And just that support, even if it's however minor it is, carries a long way.
Oh, sure. Well, almost in a sense, that's almost like a parent in that role.
Right.
And any of us who are parents know there are times when we're just playing it as we go, like learning as we go along. We try not to let the children become aware of that. We've got to keep a grip on the situation.
And the reality of, you know, being first generation, I know I'm not only speaking for myself, is a lot of us don't have those parents at home. You know, they may be working 2 jobs or struggling with their other siblings. We don't always have them to tell us, you know what, you can do it, or even know about what it is we're doing to say that. So to have a mentor who does know what we're going through in our educational careers is just tremendous support.
So how do you find the mentors?
So
who are they?
I'll tell you, I'm the master of finding the mentors. And I have to say, I think it's partly because I've been so involved in education that I know, you know, all the people who've been involved in education since kindergarten, who now their kids have graduated.
Oh, since they were in kindergarten.
Well, or their kids were in kindergarten.
Well, Dee's a former teacher.
And I was a former teacher, and I still teach. But I love finding mentors and try to, you know, try to match to the extent I can sort of the interest of the student and what they at the moment are thinking that they might like to major in with somebody who's in that profession, so that we can, you know, allow them to have that extra expertise, you know. So for example, we have a student who really wants to be a dentist, and so we have a local dentist who is very happy to be her mentor. And so it's those kind of relationships that are wonderful. So.
And once you find them, and each mentor has one student? For
the most part, people start with one. So, and then, I mean, I have several.
Yeah, but you're a Wonder Woman. We've already determined that.
But I think, you know, then you get hooked with the program. And so, but for the most part, people start with one. And then, obviously, as their student graduates or gets to a point where maybe they're more self-sufficient, they can take on someone else. And we now have a lot more mentor training. So, you know, I would have to say, when you probably think of the way the program started 10 years ago and the way it has developed to now, it is just far more, it really has become much more inclusive and much more involving people as mentors, but also training them and training, having workshops for students. So we're becoming a much more you know, sophisticated, yes, very sophisticated program. Yes, we are.
And do you screen them in any? I understand that you train them.
We try.
But is there any kind of screening?
Well, I would say that they have to be in my circle of
friends.
I
mean, do you check? I know some other programs where they check for, you know, to be honest, criminal records, or you don't want these children, these young people preyed upon.
Oh, and I would say that in the last year or so, we have had more people who have learned about the program that are, you know, that we don't know. Yeah. So obviously, in that case, we do a lot more. Okay. But probably, you know.
But usually it is people that, you know,
we've known for a long time.
Have long-standing relationships in the community.
Right. Exactly.
That we feel comfortable.
Right.
Now, there are so many programs in our community that help students in various ways. I mean, there's that youth philanthropy program.
Right.
You were talking about a program that you volunteer in now, Leslie, with the
MV Pals.
MV Pals. Just so many. There's Just Read. Is that one of them? Do you collaborate? Do you collaborate with each other, or are you sort of getting in each other's way, or?
Well, I think that there's been sort of informal cooperation over the past few years, and that sort of ebbs and flows depending upon how much time people have to devote to that. The Los Altos Community Foundation is now working under a United Way grant to do a study of the various tutoring and mentoring organizations in our community, and to see if a consultant could help us figure out ways to cooperate more efficiently.
Yes, okay.
Because we're all faced with the challenge of raising money and administrative overhead, mentor training. There's lots of areas where there's overlap, where it would be nice if we could find ways to share expertise and resources. But I think everybody's so busy trying to run their program, sometimes it's hard to find the time to do the coordination.
So now this grant will allow you, the group or Los Altos Community, to hire someone to do this. To do
the study and to see if they can, pull us all together.
Oh, it's great.
And figure out a way that we could, move forward to help the students, where there's sort of a continuum of services from kindergarten, through college, for the kinds of, demographic of the higher risk.
Yes.
Kids.
You had the first 5 years were funded by Jim Strand, and then you had to find other sources of support. How do you find these? Who are these sources?
Who
are
the
individual? I don't need their names.
Well, of course, Jim continues to support us. We have a grant from the College Access Foundation of California, which funds about a third of our students, and then the rest of the money comes from individual donors and.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but we're getting short on time. Great, and it seems so obvious how much this does. If you had to sum up in one sentence, any one of you, because we're very short of time now, how would you say, why does this help the community as a whole?
Well, I think our community is made up of individuals, and we're trying to just help as many individuals as we can.
And the youth is our future. We have
to
invest in the youth. Yeah.
It's just too great a resource to waste. Yes.
I just think education's not a personal gain; it's a public, success. So
perfect.
Right.
That was just
well
perfect.
Done. Well
Thank
done.
all of you so much.
Thank you,
for
Maureen.
Thank you
being
for having
here.
us.
And I think we all learned. Everybody else, you already knew. But for the rest of us, this was a really learning experience. And thank you again, and great success.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.